Jai Sunran, everyone. Welcome back. This is our last session for Satsang No Rang. We're gonna be doing a good activity today. The first part of this session will be doing a small PowerPoint presentation on what we learned and what we should gather as we go back to our daily routine after the Shibir. And then we're gonna have a great activity hosted by Chandni Ben. And then we're going to have closing remarks from everyone and various people who are involved with Satsang Norang. So let me start sharing my screen and we can start with the first presentation. And friendly reminder, please turn on your cameras. We'd love to see your lovely faces. Okay, Satsang Norang, final session. Session 4. So before I start into the, Vajramrut and all that, right? Be sure to stop me. If you guys have any questions, concerns, or any slides, etc., raise your hand, ask questions. We want to make this as interactive and as a learning experience for you guys. This is for you guys, not us, right? So Maharaj said in Gadra Patham 71 that a person who has nishchay in Pratyaksh Murti of Bhagwan, worships Bhagwan, and behaves in accordance with niyams of satsang will attain kalyan. So we've been talking about niyam nishchay paksh, right? But what does it get us? Where does it get us to? And how do we attain that, right? So what Maharaj is explaining here is Tame maro nishchay raksha, if you keep my nishchay and you follow my niyams and you have paksh of me, you'll attain kalyan. And this kalyan that you'll get is you're going to go away from the circle of life, the 8.4 million lives that we've had to live up to until this life we're in, which we're going to try and break. Is you do that and you'll be able to go to Akshardham. That's crazy, right? Is everyone with me? Give me a thumbs up. Yes, no, does that make sense? Awesome. So let's dive back into what we were, and let's kind of do like sometimes when you're given something, we don't understand what's not part of it. So what we'll do for the next few slides is we're going to talk about just niyam, nishchay, paksh, but we'll talk about it in a different way, and you'll see it as I present. So if you follow niyam and paksh, but you don't follow nishchay, you do not understand what you're believing in. Like, for example, you take a niyam of uh, anything that you may think is related to Bhagwan, etc. Right? For example, we all have a niyam that we should not eat meat, right? And everyone in this group call doesn't eat meat, right? Same way, we don't eat onion garlic too, right? So that's a niyam that we have, and then we take we take a paksh of something, such as thinking about, like, okay, so I am believing in this and I'm doing what I'm doing, but how will I be able to ever understand why am I doing that, right? So in terms of an example of practicality, like right now, is let's talk about, have you guys heard of the movement of veganism and vegan? Anyone not knowing about vegans? Whoever knows veganism and stuff, raise your hand or give me a thumbs up, heart, whatever. Yeah, we're good. We're on the same page right now. Awesome. So for those of you who didn't know or didn't raise their hands, I'm just going to say it real quick. Veganism is the following of a diet that contains no animal products or no animal byproducts, including dairy, and it's mostly a plant-based diet. So that's their niyam, right? For vegans, they do have a niyam that they're following, that we're not going to eat any meat products, any products that are coming from any animals, any byproduct meat, animal byproducts, dairy, etc. Right? And I have not been in the US my whole life. I've been here for a few years, And one thing that I've noticed is whenever I talk to a vegan or when vegans talk to vegan people, I kind of see this thing where they have pucks of each other. Like, hey man, turn vegan, turn vegan, turn vegan, right? Cool, right? We don't do that for our satsang. Do we go tell people that, become around, come to this Shibir and etc. etc. We don't do that. What vegans do, right? So they have pucks too of their own people. But then to keep that, to have that kind of, hey, move into this, become vegans, what is it that they're truly believing it? What is their niche to do that? That's because they don't want to hurt the animal. They've seen the cruelty done. When you slit an animal, when you hurt something, right? Just take an example of you taking a pin and just hitting your hand like this, right? It's gonna hurt, right? How about you cutting it? How does that feel? Right? That's their niche, so that's the kind of example I want to bring back up to you. Is in our satsang, if we have paksh and we have niyam but we don't have nishchay, we're like, what are we believing in, right? When you have nishchay, you can truly tell someone like, hey, this is our religion, this is who Swamin Bhagwan is, and we want to spread the word. That's why you need nishchay. And not only that, you need niyam, nishchay, and paksh. Is everyone with me? Does that kind of make sense to you? No? Yeah? Cool. Awesome. So then the second question that you could ask, right, is if you have nishchay and niyam, but not paksh, how can you truly believe that you have niyam and nishchay? If one truly has niyam and nishchay, then paksh comes with it. But nishchay allows you to have firm faith. That firm faith must be protected with loyalty, right? So give you an example, right? So over here, what we're trying to say is that you have niyam and nishchay, but not paksh. So I kind of realized this when I was a young boy, when I was in my school, and I was talking to my friends, right? So I had learned about this niyam, nishchay, paksh when I was in back where I came from in Kenya. And I just went over that slides and kind of understood that, okay, this is the meaning of paksh, etc. But until you don't experience it, you never truly understand it. So I'm going to give you a small example from my life, and hopefully, it resonates with you guys. So when I was a kid, I would always have friends, and like everyone has friends, right? When you're a kid and you talk to them, you interact with them in school, etc. Right? So you guys have like some rules, right? Hey man, like we're gonna be chilling in this spot, or we'll be doing something, etc. Right? You have some rules as friends. You guys just figure that out. It's unbound. You don't need to talk about it, right? And then the same way, you have a bond with your family, right? You have rules that you have to follow in your family, etc. Right? And that goes on, right? And then you have nishchay, because hey, that's my family, hey, that's my friend, I like that person, there's a reason we're friends, etc. Right? But when I had that experience with my friends, but then when I'd meet someone new, or when I'd meet someone who's not their mutual friend, what would happen is they would not talk good things about my friend, right? And I'd just be like, oh yeah, yes, that's true, that's true. But then that's wrong with me, because he's my friend. It's like I didn't protect his loyalty, right? I wasn't able to really protect someone else talking bad about my friend, right? Same way with Maharaj. Like, I'm not taking, if someone is talking bad about Maharaj, someone is talking bad about Maharaj's bhakt, someone is hurting them, etc. Right? We have to stand up, because that's our paksh, right? So in that sense, we have to have niyam nishchay with paksh. Does this make sense? Any questions? Anything that you guys want to go over? Anything? Thumbs up. Thumbs up. Awesome. 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 I love this. All right. Now, you guys probably guessed it. The third one is going to be, you have nishchay and paksh, but not niyam, right? That's catastrophic, to be honest, right? Like, the base of it is not there, right? Like, you don't have niyam. So you're like believing in Bhagwan, and you take his side, but at the other hand, you're like this picture. Let's just analyze this picture real quick, right? So there is this guy. He's sitting on the chair, right? This so-called Bhagat. He's sitting on the chair. He has a mara in his hand, and he has a tilak chandlo, right? But look what's on the table. There's a there's a alcohol bottle, there's games or for gambling, there's a there's a cigarette pack, right? So how is he following the niyams, but he's trying to be this person of, hey, I know I am Swaminarayan Bhagwan's follower, etc. But I don't follow the niyams, right? It's basically that what I'm trying to say is summed in all on this picture, right? So what happens here is people will start noticing, right? As I mentioned in my niyam slide, in my paksh slides, that when you do the tilak chandlo, etc., people will notice you. People will say, oh, he is a bhagat of Swaminarayan Bhagwan, right? And they relate to you as a religion, right? And they say that he's part of the religion. And if they've seen everyone follow the niyams, and then one day they see this person and they're like, oh man, look at what he's doing. He's bringing shame to the religion, right? Their people keep talking about how they always follow the rules, how Sarman Bhagwan's followers and bhagats are always doing all the rules and etc. But look at this guy, like they're probably just lying to us, right? So we don't want to bring shame to our religion, and we don't ever want to be called a hypocrite. So that's why you need all three in your life. If you have one less, as is seen, one of them will kind of not work out for your kalyan, for your sampradaya, for your own self. Does that make sense? Everyone cool? Everyone kind of understand where I'm trying to go at? Yeah, no, yeah. Awesome, awesome. All right, so let's take it to the next slide. So, I've been going on, right, since the first day. It's like, what is satsang no wrong, satsang no wrong, satsang no wrong, right? What is satsang no wrong? Like, what is it that we're trying to achieve? What is it that you come to the Shibir for? And what is it we want to make sure that you guys understand when we say satsang no rang, right? The, the main thing here is that we want you to understand niyam, nishchay, paksh, and the more main thing, the more extravagant thing that we should strive to be is, how do we maintain that throughout our life, right? There should be something that can help us maintain that, right? And that's understanding the importance of Maharaj, right? Maharaj Sri Swaminarayan Bhagwan. So to give you an example here is, say you have a car, right? A car has many parts. It has an engine, it has a steering wheel, it has a transmission, etc., etc., etc. I can go on, right? But if this car that you've been driving has no gas, how is it gonna be like moving forward? How is it gonna reach its destination, right? So in this case, now think of all the parts of the car as the different things, right? Like niyam could be the engine, nishchay could be the steering wheel, paksh could be the transmission, and then there's other things we've discussed in other shivirs too, like bhakti could be the exhaust, stuff like that. Different parts of the car are the different things in our religion that make us a bhagat of Swaminarayan Bhagwan, right? And what is fueling all that? What is fueling the car? It's the gas, right? That way, the importance of Maharaj is fueling everything here. So to keep all this intact and like move forward in your life and reach your destination, Akshardham, that's how we can reach it, by understanding the importance of Sri Swaminarayan Bhagwan. Another example that came to my mind just now is that when we come to the Shibir, right, we're basically like coming and filling our own tank, like we have all these things, we've learned it from past shibirs, but when we come here, it's like, okay, let's fill the fuel tank again, and then what we want to do, and hopefully we achieve now, is that as we go through this shibir and continue, is we want to keep that fuel tank up, up, up. You guys with me? Awesome, awesome. So understanding the mahima of Maharaj, right? what does that mean? What does understanding the mahima of Maharaj mean in terms of, does everyone know what mahima means? Yes or no? Give me a yes, no, yeah. Okay, I have a few people who didn't. So I'll explain what mahima means, right? Mahima means the importance of something. Um, so, for example, if we don't have water for 7 days, we'll understand the importance of water, right? When we do Ekadashi, right? By the end of the day, we're so hungry. And then that's the time we understand the importance of food, right? The same way, the importance of Maharaj. How should we understand it? And how should we lead our life so that we go to where we want to be? So, the first things first is, how many lives do we have to go through to get just one human life? In the Shastras, it's written that we have to go through 8.4 million lives, right? 8.4 million. So, and each life has different categories, right? Like, for example, if you were born as a tree, you'd be spending 300, 400 years there, or if you're born as, like, let's say, a rat, or you're born as a shark, think of all these lives that you can see and the things that you can't see, right? Microscopic ones. Even that you can be born as, right? All that comes under the 8.4 million lives. And when it comes under that 8.4 million lives, you go through that once. And when you go through it once, in that one time, you'll get a body of a human, right? So what Maharaj wants us to do is that you get this body of a human, and in this body of a human, pray to me, understand who I am, do my satsang, right? Understand, like, I have to keep my dharma, I have to do bhakti every day. I should understand my gnan, if you guys remember from the previous Shibir, and I have to understand that all these things that are around me is Maya, right? Which ties back to understanding the 8.4 million lives. So what I want to kind of stress out here is, we're all not attached to anything. We're all independent. We're all going to be going through our own cycles on our own. We will never be, for example, if you were born as a snake or as a dog, etc., right? You don't know. You don't know when. And you also don't know when death is a certain point, right? You don't know. Like, it just comes and it'll go. So don't waste your time. Use it wisely. From all the things that we've taught you, right? What we're trying to impart is that as you go through your day, as you go through your life, right? Understand how much have you done for Maharaj when you were at, say, some of your 16, some of your 12, some of your 20, etc., right? How much have you done at that point? And then, keep understanding that, how much can I do in the next 4 months? How much have I done in the next 8 months? Am I going up in satsang or am I going down? Just a small thought I want to leave you guys with. Does that make sense? Yeah? No? Yeah? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you, guys. So how can we attain Mahatva for Maharaj, right? Like, I've just been talking and talking that, okay, Mahima means this, etc., etc. But how can we do that, right? So for me, one of the things that really reaches out to me is through examples. And the best thing that Maharaj did for us was that he made so many leelas for us to understand so many different things, right? So there is this leela by Muktanand Swami of how the arti was written. And I'll just quickly brief over it, and then we can kind of discuss as to if you have any question on the Leela or any concerns, right? So when Muktanand Swami, after Ramanand Swami left for Akshardham, he appointed Sajanand Swami. Sajanand Swami is Swamiran Bhagwan as the head of the Sampradaya. And our Sampradaya is Uddhav Sampradaya. Okay. So what happened one time, Muktanand Swami was in another gam, and Maharaj was in another gam, and Muktanand Swami got news saying that, hey, Maharaj is doing samadhi, etc., samadhi prakran and all. So just for you guys' knowledge, samadhi is something that's really, really difficult to attain. It's a state of it's a state where you're not in your conscious body, but through your soul you can see the various dhams and various murtis of Maharaj. You can go to Akshardham and see everything, right? So Maharaj was giving samadhi to any and every soul after Maharaj at that point, and Muktanand Swami got this word. So Muktanand Swami thought to himself, like, whoa, what is happening? Like, Ramanand Swami never gave any samadhis to anyone. And how can Sajanand Swami, Sri Swamiran Bhagwan, give samadhi to just anyone like that, right? Because what Muktanand Swami knew at that time, and he firmly believed as his nishtay at that time, was that Sri Swaminarayan Bhagwan was not at the same level as Ramanand Swami. Ramanand Swami, he thought that Ramanand Swami was the avatar, the supreme lord, and then Sajanand Swami. So, with that in mind, he went to where Maharaj was doing samadhi. And he told Maharaj that, Maharaj, this is not, he told Swamin Bhagavan that this is not right, what you're doing. It's not, it's like, how can you just do this? Just because Ramadan Swami is not here. So now you want to take up all the power and just do these fake kind of samadhis and all, right? And everyone, Maharaj didn't say anything. But the bhaktos who got the samadhis, they're like, no, it's real. We felt it. We went and saw, right? And that went on and on and on for a few days. And Muktanand Swami kept on fighting and fighting and fighting. But at the end of the day, what happened is no one was on his side. He was the only one. So what he thought that, okay, then I guess this is the end of me and I should continue with my path, and this Uddhav Sampradaya can go in its own path, because I don't want to be associated with this fake samadhis, etc., that Bhuktanand Swami was said to Maharaj and everyone else. So then one day when Maharaj went to the river to take a bath with all the bhaktos and everyone, Muktanand Swami got Divya Darshan from Ramanand Swami. Ramanand Swami himself from Akshardham came and gave him Divya Darshan. And what he said was crazy. It's just amazing that we have such leelas, right? What he said was, um, hey, Muktanand Swami, you have to understand what I used to say, that I am the mere drummer of this band. Just to give you an example in terms of today's one, it's like you have a drummer, you have a lead singer, you have a guitarist, etc., right? But who's the show? Who's the star of the show? It's the lead singer, right? The lead singer is always the guy who's like noticed. He's the best person in the band, right? Without him, you can have music, etc., but you're not going to have a good song, right? So in this case, what Ramanand Swami was trying to say is that I am just a normal drummer. The lead singer is Sahajanand Swami. The supreme Bhagwan is Sahajanand Swami that's in front of you. The samadhis and all, those are real. Those are not fake, as you're saying, as you're fighting with him. And that's when Muktanand Swami was shocked. It's like, oh man, I've been fighting with the Supreme, the Almighty, all this time. And he just got very, very, he got sad, right? Because it's like, how can I make up for this? How can I do something? And that's when he thought that, let me create an arti for Maharaj, showing how big Almighty Bhagwan Swaminarayan is. You guys with me? Did that story kind of make sense to understand? So he understood, in this case, what's the moral is that he understood the mahatva, the mahima of Maharaj through Ramanand Swami, right? This is a leela, right? What we want to see as a third person viewer of this story is that, wow, like we know how big Muktanand Swami was, right? We know how big Ramanand Swami was, and we obviously know how big Sahajanand Swami is. We don't we just we can't put a we can't have we can't put a word to it, right? It's that big. It's like even if we use thousands of mouths to keep singing his praise, we can't do it, right? So it's that mahima that led him to make the arti. So then now we'll go through the arti, right? So we sing the arti like every day, right? Like you have to sing it, right? Like your mom, your dad, your family, they just like, okay, we're gonna do arti twice a day, in the morning, in the evening, right? When I was younger, I had to do that, right? But then what happens is you learn the words, right? Today in the debate, as we talked about, it's like we just learn the words, but we don't know what we're singing, right? So let's do a small few slides here just to understand what are we actually singing, and let's relate that to the lila we just learned. That way it'll bring in perspective as to how and why there's this arti, right? So the first, we won't do the whole one, but we'll do a few ones that relate to what we're trying to understand for this conclusion. So it's Charana Saroj Tamara Vandu Karajodi. So that means Charana Saroj Tamara Vandu Karajodi. So I bow down to your lotus feet, to your lotus feet I bow down, because of your how big you are, right? Muktanand Swami didn't believe it before that until Raman Swami told him, and then once he got to know, he's like, oh man, these feet are so important. So he wrote just one kadi saying that charana saroj tamara. And what does vandu? Vandu means I bow my head down to you, and kar means hand. So vandu kar jodi, like that. And then we'll go through the second one. Pamarapatita udharya aganita nara nari. So let's try understand the words here, right? Pamar patit udharya. Pamar is normal jeeves like us, right? Who are trying to attain moksha. If we were not Pamar, we'd be muktos sitting in Akshardham or Vaikund or wherever we end up going, right? So that we're Palmers. We're trying to achieve something through this life. So Palmer Patit Udharya. Udharya means Janu Kalyan Kari. Janu you gave moksha to. So you gave moksha to Aganit Nara Nari. Nar is man, Nari is woman, and Aganit means countless. So let's just read it again. So Pamar Patita Udharya Aganita Nara Nari. So you gave moksha to so many countless people, we don't even know, you can't count it, right? There's a famous I don't know if you guys have read the Ramayana, but I don't know if it's even in specifically mentioned in the Ramayana, but I've heard this say when I was younger at the mandir. I heard that janama janama muni jatana karaye anta samhe rama aaye na aaye, right? What does that mean? That means that the Rishi Munis who were here millions of years ago, they spent tens of thousands of lives, and each life was almost 500 years, thousands of years. They lived very long time ago, right? And every time at the end of their life, Bhagwan didn't even show them their face, even though they were praying, all they dedicated their whole all their lives, and they had to come back in the circle, keep coming back, right? Now let's put this in perspective. Bhagwan Swamiran came and he's like, here is moksha for you. Just how did he do that? By giving us the knowledge, the niyam, the nishchay, the paksh, the dharma, the bhakti, the vairagya, etc. Right? Everyone with me? Any questions, concerns? Awesome. Then there's another kari in the arti. Nitya nitya nautama leela karta avinashi. So nitya nitya means daily. Nautam would mean beautiful, and leela karta avinashi. But another name for Bhagwan would be Avinashi, right? It's just a nice, beautiful way to call Bhagwan. So what that line means is you would do daily, every day, you would do so many leelas for everyone. Maharaj said that when he was here, he said every single thing from my birth to the time I do Antarjan Leela. Antarjan Leela is me going to Akshardham. Every single thing I do is nothing for me. Every single thing I'm doing is a Leela for my bhaktos in my sampradaya. Can you imagine that? Like for us, right? We do something for ourselves all the time, right? Maharaj, nothing. Everything was selfless. And then Adasatha Tiratha Charane Koti Gaya Kashi. So Maharaj's feet are so powerful and so big that its importance is that there's Arsat Tirat, there's 68 Tirats in India, known as, so what they say is you should do a darshan of all these tirats. So you travel through all India and there's different places that you go through, and there's 68 of those, right? In the olden times, what people used to do is to get punya, to understand more about religion, Hinduism, they would go around the whole 68 tirats to get in a year, or maybe they have a niyam of doing it every year, every 10 years, etc., right? In what this is saying, that Arsat Tirat is in Maharaj's feet, Maharaj's lotus feet, right? So you don't really need to go anywhere. You have attained what you need to get, the ultimate supreme Sri Swaminarayan Bhagwan. Everyone understood that? No? Yeah. Yeah. What I want you to kind of, relate to or understand from this is that bhav that you're singing this with. Imagine that you're singing this to Maharaj every time, the first time you sing this, right? After you understand this. It's like you should always feel this, like, oh man, this is also important. And then what is Maharaj in front of that? And then the third one is Avasar Karuna Nidhi Karuna Bahu Ki Dhi. Now we know how how sympathetic Maharaj was, right? There's a very small story I'll say here, and then I'll explain the line. Is when because it just came to my mind, and I think it's an awesome story, and it just shows how Karuna Nidhi Maharaj is. One time when Maharaj was sleeping near in his bed, a dog came and slept next to him, right? And the bhaktas around Maharaj kept on hitting the dog, like with a soti, a stick. He kept on hitting the dog, and the dog would go away. And Maharaj would hear the screams of that dog, right? When you get hurt and you get hit, right? An animal or us, we all make some kind of noise, right? And Maharaj would hear the noise, and he would hear the noise. It happened 2 3 times, and then the fourth time it happened, he's like, why are you hitting him? He's getting hurt and you're throwing him away. Let him stay next to me. This way he will get also kalyan, and you guys are getting pop because you're near. You guys are hitting him, right? So he was not just for his bhaktos, he was here for every single jeev, right? That's why we say karuna bahukidi. Like, he was so sympathetic. He wanted us to really get akshardham. Like, today us sitting here is because of his krupa, right? And then Muktanand says, Muktanand kahe mukti sugama kari siddhi, right? So what Muktanand Swami says over there is, the path to moksha, the path to Almighty, the path to Sri Swaminarayan Bhagwan has been made so easy. It's been just really, really easy in this janam because of all the things you've provided us with, right? And that's the story. Let's just look back at the Leela, right? If Muktanand Swami had left Maharaj then and just gone his own way, he would have never understood the importance of Maharaj. He would have never reached there. But Maharaj was so sympathetic toward every jeev that he's like, I cannot let this go. So he came, he told Ramanand Swami that go give darshan to Muktanand Swami and tell him that I am the Almighty, and tell him to come and I'll give him kalyan, right? So that's how he says Sugama Kari Siddhi. What Sugam means, you made it, Sugam is easy, and you made Siddhi. Siddhi means the the parishram, the hard work that you have to put to achieve something is Sugam, is Siddhi, right? So you made it easy for mukti, for moksha. Everyone kind of with me? Yeah? No? Makes sense? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Any questions, concerns? Cool. Awesome. So like, this is just a small picture that I want to see, right? Like Maharaj doing arti to, Muktanand Swami doing arti to Maharaj for the first time. And another thing that I'll say here is, right, so this is the arti that was made, it's the first. These santos, right, they came with Maharaj, and they made this artis. They made it with a certain bhav. They made it with a certain kind of attraction towards Maharaj, right? And as you saw, right, like when we sit to understand each and every word, we really understand the depth of why do we sing the arti? What does it really mean, right? So there's many artis out there and stuff, right? But what we do as the original sampradaya, we want to stick to the artis that have been handed out to down to us by the nun santos, stuff that has been approved, or scriptures, kirtans, whatever it is that we sing. We want to make sure that it's approved by nun santos or written by nun santos, or this or something that has been approved by Acharya Maharashri or Lalji Maharashri. Make sense? Cool. Awesome. So the last thing that I'll leave you with, right, is Satsang Nurang. Let's just look at this one last Gadra Madhya 61. So there's a backstory to this, is, when we were trying to come up with, hey, what are we going to, after our Shibir after our final summer Shibir for 2020. We're just kind of sitting there and deciding like, what are we gonna do? Yeah, right. What's the next topic we wanna do for the winter Shibir, right? And we came upon this uh, Karra Madhyanu 61 Vachamrut, and let's just read it, and then I can kind of go over it more. And I think this sums it up great. So thereupon Shriji Maharaj said, a person who possesses three characteristics can be called a firm satsangi. And what are these three characteristics? The first is to strictly follow the niyams prescribed by one's ishtadev. Ishtadev means your Bhagwan. In our case, it's Swamiran Bhagwan. To such an extent that one would never abandon those niyams. Let's remember, niyams would never abandon them, even at the cost of one's life, right? So, in the Shikshapatri, I give you another example. Maharaj said that even in Apatkar, don't ever eat meat, right? What does Apatkar mean? Even if your life is about to be taken away, don't eat meat, right? So that's called never abandon your niyams. Then the second is to have extremely firm nishchay in Bhagwan, right? That's what we've been telling you, but that's some of the conclusions here that I've mentioned. What we've talked about before is having extreme firm faith in Bhagwan. So much that one would never diverge from it, even if others or one's own mind was to raise doubts, right? Like you will hear, right? These are the vimuks that we've been talking about, right? The vimuks that even if others or your own, if you own mind says that, hey, this is uh, such a stressful point that Maharaj put, or said, saying that even if my own mind says was to raise doubts, no, this is Sri Swaminarayan Bhagwan, Sarvopari Bhagwan, and that's it, right? That's it. That's my firm nishchay in Maharaj. The third is to be loyal to those Vaishnav bhakts who worship one's Ishtadev. So Maharaj said here that the third is to be loyal to those Vaishnav bhakts, right? Uh, when we read the Vachramrit, right, it was written in such a way so that it's exactly to the point where Maharaj wanted it to be, right? In this case, what a Vaishnav Bhakt is if any of you know, is we are all Vaishnavs. We come from Ramanand Swami Guru. Ramanand Swami's guru was Ramanujacharya, and he had another guru too, right? But that whole lineage that passed down, we're all known as Vaishnavs. That's why Maharaj here says that we are Vaishnav Bhakts. So in this case, what he means is all Vaishnav Satsangi Bhakts, meaning us, Swamiran Sampradayana Bhakto, to be loyal to them, and the ones who worship their Ishtadev, who? Swamiran Bhagwan. So be loyal. What is this? What does loyalty mean? Remember we learned it? It was about paksh. So that's what Maharaj is saying, that keep the paksh of your bhaktos. Just as parents are loyal to their children, a son is loyal to his father, and a wife is loyal to her husband, right? No matter what happens between a family, a child and his son, a mother and his son, a dad and his wife, a dad and a wife and his husband, etc., right? No matter how, let's say they have a fight, let's say nothing, they're not talking for 5 to 10 months, whatever, right? But they're still loyal to them, right? Like if I go tell someone who's had a fight with his wife that, oh, your wife is blah blah blah, but he's not going to listen to me. He's like, that's my wife you're talking about, watch your mouth. You know what I mean? That's how we should be for our own bhaktos. So Maharaj finally says that one who possesses these three characteristics completely can be called a firm satsangi, right? So for us to be known and kind of, to call ourselves, we keep saying apre bhagat che, apre satsangi che, apre a che, apre te che, right? The Vachamrut has so many things in deep, but this is just a small extract to show you that, hey, to be, if you do call yourself a satsangi, or if you want to be in the path of satsang, just remember this, right? And there's all different kinds of people that have come to this shibir, right? Some of us who are just starting out, some of us who are in the middle, some of us who understand this, right? So what the point of this is, what the point of satsang narang is, whoever or wherever you are, right? Start building up, start taking niyams, start having the paksh of your mandirs, or or your bhaktos, or your acharya of your family, right? These are the pakshis we should be taking, right? And then have firm nishchay in Maharaj Swaminarayan Bhagwan. You guys are with me? No? Yes? No? Yeah. So I'll leave you with one thing, right? I've been talking a lot, and it's a lot of words. You guys could be bored. I don't know. I'm just a speaker. I'm talking here, right? So let's all think in our mind. Okay, we've gone through this. This is the end of the slides. This is the end, and I just want to leave you with one more thing, saying that, hey, let's take a niyam for our own selves, right? Whatever niyam you want to take it internally. You don't need to share it with anyone, but take one niyam and then follow it through, and kind of see yourself how you grow between the 1 month you took the niyam, and then the next month, and then you take some more niyams, or however you want to do it. You decide your own timeline, but do these things. That's what we're here for. That's what's satsang no rang. Good? Yes? No? Everyone with me? Awesome. So that was the presentation, and that's how we're concluding Satsang Narang's final session 4 presentation. So now I'll hand it over to Chandni Ben for an awesome activity she's planned for us.
Thank you, Drew, for your amazing presentation. I hope everyone's had fun with Shibir so far. Did everybody enjoy the debate? Yes? I think most people did. You guys did great. I loved seeing the conversations. But now we are going to play a game of Kahoot, and it's going to be based around everything we've learned so far with this Shibir. So with the Niyam, Nishay, and Paksh content, we're going to have a Kahoot that covers everything. So let me start that. And for each of the top 10 winners, LNDYM will be donating $25 to SVG charity to help with different types of charities that they've been involved in. So SVG charity has been participating in different charities like doing clothing drives or food drives, as well as PPE kit drives, which are important for COVID-19. So by being one of the top 10 winners, LNDYM will be donating that money on behalf of you and your family so that it can be given to a charity of your choice. So if you are one of the top 10 winners, you can email the lndym.usa email and let them know which charity you'd like to donate to, or you can DM official LNDYM on Instagram and let them know as well.
And for those of you who do donate and are part of the donation, will get a certificate too.
You can still join if you haven't already. Just use the code and join. So the first question, what word best describes this definition? Strong faith in Bhagwan or in the doctrines of religion? So the answer choices are Nishchay, Niyam, Paksh, and Kalyan.
Quick answers, quick typing, or quick fingers.
So the correct answer is Nishchay.
We have Naya leading.
Oh, look at this. We have Naya in first place, Barth Tucker in second, Mansi in third, here in fourth, and Dia in fifth.
What was the original name of the Swaminarayan Sampradaya? The 4 options are Vaishnav Sampradaya, Ramanandi Sampradaya, Sadanandi Sampradaya, and Uddhav Sampradaya.
Come on, you guys got this. I think we did this in our last Shibir as well.
And it was a question for one of the polls, I believe, yesterday.
So the correct answer is Uddhav Sampradaya. Okay, so our next question is, who is the first Acharya of Vartal Gadi? Shri Ram Pratap Ji Maharaj, Shri Raghuveer Ji Maharaj, Shri Ayodhya Prasad Ji Maharaj, and Shri Ajendra Prasad Ji Maharaj. This was also something that we've covered multiple years in our Shibir. So Let's hope everyone can get this one right. Okay, so the answer is Sri Raghuvirji Maharaj.
Scoreboards have changed a little bit. We have Naya still leading, but then we have Dia Patel from Cali second, Mansi third, Veer Patel from Ohio fourth, and Jay from New Jersey on fifth. Let's move on to the next question. Who is the father of our satsang? Options are Sri Muktanand Swami, Sri Sadanand Swami, Sri Gopal Swami. None of the above.
This one is a trick question, so read it a little carefully. Yes, so the father of our satsang is Sri Sajanand Swami, which is Bhagwan. Muktanand Swami is the mother of our sampradaya. Oh, wow, the scoreboard changed like a lot. Okay, so Viren Patel has a streak going on. That's kind of nice. Good job. We have Janvi in second, Aman in third, Hir Patel in fourth, and Divyang in fifth.
Good job, guys. Keep it up. What was the original name of Sampradaya?
So the answer choices are Vaishnav Sampradaya, Ramanandi Sampradaya, Sajanandi Sampradaya, and Uddhav Sampradaya. I think this is a repeat, so you get a freebie.
This is a gimme. Everyone should get this right. This is a repeat.
So the answer is Uddhav Sampradaya. We went through this one, but it's a freebie, so everyone gets more points. We love freebies.
Bhakti Patel is the highest climber. Good job, Bhakti. The sixth question is, what word best describes this definition of solemn promise or vow? Uttam, Baksh, Niyam, or Nishay?
This was covered in one of our PowerPoints, so let's see who paid attention. So the answer to this question is Niyam. A Niyam is a solemn promise or vow. Okay, so now we have Divyang in fourth place, and we have Priyal Patel in fifth. You guys are doing great. Oh, and Janvi has a streak, which is nice. We like that. Good job, Janvi. Which of the following is not one of the Panchvardhans? Do not drink alcohol, do not convert or convert others, do not commit suicide, or do not steal.
Covered this yesterday, everyone.
Quick FYI, please turn on your videos.
So the correct answer is do not commit suicide. All of the other ones are one of the Panchvardhans stated by Maharaj.
We've had some change in the scoreboard. We have Janvi in first now, Divyang in second, Mansi third, Viren in fourth, and Naya fifth. What word best describes his definition? Loyalty towards Maharaj and his sampradaya. Nastik, Niyam, Kushang, and Baksh. I know for a fact I went through this in class, and I think we discussed a recap today in the first session, so who's paying attention? Get those answers in.
So the answer for this question is Baksh. Remember, we can have Baksh in mandirs, in acharyas, and in Maharaj. So
And our family and friends as well. So
right.
We still have Janvi leading, but then we have Mansi who moved up, Viren who moved up, and then Gautam and Aman in fourth and fifth place.
Okay, our next question is finish the sentence. Bhagwan's form is Prakashman, Nirakar, Sakar, or Sanshay. This was one of the poll questions, I believe. So let's see who paid attention to the poll question.
We picked one. Tick, tick, two.
So the correct answer for this question was Sakar. Ooh, Bansri was making a comeback.
Which of the following is not one of the 3 levels of Nishay? Madhyam, Satsang, Uttam,
So Pratham is not one of the 3 levels of Nishay. Madhyam, Uttam, and Kanish are the 3 levels of Nishay. Ooh, scoreboard changed. Serena, do you want to read the scoreboard? Okay, it's okay. I can go ahead and do it. So Janvi is in first place. We have Viren Patel, who just rose up on the scoreboard. Mansi is in third. Gautam is in fourth place, and Sanjay is in fifth place, who also just rose up to the scoreboard. Okay, so our next question is, what does the phrase Sarvanakaran Nakaran mean? Maharaj is the cause of all cause. Maharaj is the one who gives the power. Maharaj is above the 24 avatars that existed before him. And Maharaj is the king of all kings. Let's see who's gonna get this one. So the correct answer is Maharaj is the cause of all cause. So Sarvanakaran Nakaran, Karan means cause, right? So the literal definition of this phrase is Bhagwan is the cause of all cause. Okay, so the scoreboard changed a little bit. We have Gautam in third place, and now we have Stuti in fourth place. Let's go to the next question. Okay. Which of the following is not a type of kusang? Kuda Panti, Uttam Panti, Shuska Panti, and Nastik. Or Shushka Vedanti, sorry. This one's a little bit more tough. You have to pay really close attention to it. So the answer to this question was Uttam Panti. Ooh, okay. So we now have Mansi in second place, Hir Patel in Ohio, and Sham from New Jersey in fifth place. You guys are doing great. Oh, and Janvi's still in first. Good job, Janvi. Who's gonna beat Janvi? Someone has to beat Janvi.
Good job, Janvi.
Okay, so by following the Shiksha Patri, my male and female disciples shall attain, there's 4 blanks, the following 4 desired objects. So this was actually stated in the Shiksha Patri by Maharaj. Okay, so the answer is Dharma, Earth, Kam, and Moksha. In Shiksha Patri Shlok 206, Maharaj said, by following the Shiksha Patri, my male and female followers shall attain Dharma, Earth, Kam, and Moksha, which are the 4 desired objects.
Good job, everyone. Janvi's still leading. Someone has to beat Janvi here. Okay, so which is not a bhakti? Oh, sorry, Janvi.
No, you're good. Pujanam, Atmanivedanam, Archanam, and Sakhya Bhav. The question again is, which is not a type of bhakti? So the answer is Pujanam. Yeah, this one was tricky because everything ended in num. So, yes.
Good job for effort, guys.
Oh, so we had a scoreboard change.
A big one. We have here first place, Sham as second, Janvi third, Hima fourth, and Mansi fifth. Good job, guys.
This ones were double points. So in Karada Pratham 78, who asked the question, how can someone with a stable foundation in satsang be recognized? The answer choices are Sri Muktanand Swami, Sri Nana Shivanand Swami, Sri Shatanand Swami, and Sri Gopalanand Swami. Remember, this one's worth double points.
This could bring you up on that leaderboard. Boost you guys up.
So the answer to this question is Sri Nana Shivanand Swami. Oh, Janvi just made her comeback.
Janvi's back, number 1. Mansi second. Here, third. Sham fourth, and Stuti fifth. Good job, guys.
Okay, so this one's also worth double points. Which Vachnamrit covered the topic of repercussions of siding with the Vimukh? Gadada Madhya 5, Gadada Madhya 30, Gadada Pratham 63, and Gadada Pratham 48.
Four more seconds left, everyone. Susan. Correct answer is Gadya Madhya 5.
Okay, so we had another scoreboard change.
Now we have Soham second, Aryan third, Mansi fourth, and here fifth.
Good job, guys. These questions are getting really hard, so trust me, they're really hard, but you guys are doing great.
How many lives do you go through to get Manusha Janam? 7.5 million, 7.9 million, 8.4 million, and 8.6 million. I know we went over this yesterday at one of the sessions.
Yeah, this was definitely something that Braj talked about in one of his sessions.
You guys got this.
Yeah, so the correct answer is 8.4 million. Okay, so we had another scoreboard change. Janvi is still in first place. Soham is still in second place. Here Patel is in third. Sham from New Jersey is in fourth place, and Stuti is in fifth place.
Last question, guys.
You guys got this. Okay, so this one's also worth double points. Which Vachnamrit is this quote? A person who is a bhakt of Bhagwan daily performs the Mansi Puja of Bhagwan.
Loya 12, Gadra Pratham 63, Gadra Pratham 68, and Gadra Antya 68. Worth double points, so double the stakes.
You can make your comeback still. Who's gonna make a comeback?
Reading?
So the correct answer is Gadara Antya 23. So in this Vachnamrit, Maharaj said that Nishay can be presented in the form of Mansi Puja, and that if you present it, or if you do Mansi Puja daily, then you can show Bhagwan that you do have faith in him.
Can we get a little drum roll? It's gonna be number 3.
So we have Janvi in third place, Sanjay in second. Oh, and here in first.
Good job,
Good job, everyone.
Good job, everyone, for participating.
You guys did a great job. Thank you, everyone, so much for participating. If you did win, please remember to either DM official LNDYM on Instagram or email lndym.usa@gmail.com so that you can donate your money. So now I will hand it over to Dhruv.
Hey, thanks for that awesome activity. The easiest question for me was the one that was repeated. The rest of them were just super difficult. Everything else I got wrong. So let's watch. So let's continue, right? As we do conclusions, we also want you to have some fun, So we're gonna watch a small video. It's about procrastination, A lot of us procrastinate, and that's how we've been going. But let's try and understand, like, what is actually procrastination?